Judge rules inadmissible hearsay evidence in Terreblanche trial, and Malema's appeal may hit a snag. I'm Lebo Changela with this news update. Judge John Horn ruled as inadmissible hearsay evidence which implicates the teenage accused in the Eugene Terreblanche murder trial. Judge Horn says it would not be in the interest of justice to allow such evidence to be used against the teenager. The state had applied to the Circuit High Court in Ventersdorp in the northwest to rely on a statement made by the other accused in their case against the teenager. Chris Mahlangu implicated the teenager in the murder plot during an interview with the police. SABC senior court reporter Kenneth Klein has the details.
Judge John Horn said he would give reasons for his ruling during judgment at the end of the trial. The ruling means that Mahlangu's statement cannot be used against the teenager. Police had earlier conceded that other than the statement, there is no forensic evidence tying the teenager to the crime. The statement has been ruled inadmissible against the teenager. After the ruling, the state and the defense closed their case. Both accused elected not to testify in their own defense. Candice Klein, SABC News, Ventersdorp.
SABC News reliably understands that today's hearing of suspended ANC Youth League President Julius Malema's appeal may hit a snag. There's a likelihood that Malema's legal representatives may not turn up for the hearing. This as they have not been furnished with some of the key documents relating to the disciplinary committee's previous sitting, which recommended Malema's expulsion. This may form grounds for Malema and league spokesperson Floyd Jabambu to seek a postponement of today's appeal hearing. It also understood that the disciplinary committee will convene again on Saturday to hear Malema's appeal against his immediate suspension, announced last week after he called President Jacob Zuma a dictator. The South African and National Road Agency Limited will today announce new revised terms and conditions for road users who have registered for the Gauteng e-tolling system. This after representatives of the agency and the National Consumer Commission met yesterday. The Commission's head, Mamudubi Mokhala, says some important details have not been disclosed to the consumer before the introduction of the system at the end of this month. However, she says some headway has been made.
There's still elements of disclosure that are not made to the consumer beforehand. And that's a critical issue with regard to the Consumer Protection Act, because what the Act says is that a consumer must have full disclosure with regard to all the terms and conditions on which they contract prior to the contract being concluded. Whereas we found that with the e-tolling system, there are certain terms and conditions that are only disclosed after the consumer has concluded the contract. For instance, the terms and conditions are with regard to the payment methodology.
And Transport Minister Busiso Ndebele says the newly launched Think Pedestrian campaign will focus on irresponsible pedestrians. The campaign was launched in Johannesburg yesterday. Ndebele announced that nearly 40% of road fatalities that occurred during the Easter weekend involved pedestrians. The total number of road deaths dropped from 294 to 181. Ndebele elaborates.
There's a new worry. We're seeing an increasing number of pedestrians that are being killed. We have emphasized that drinking and driving is no. Drinking and driving, you are an idiot. But we have not talked about drinking and walking. It's not unusual in South Africa to see a person even crossing a freeway on foot. And there's quite a lot of recklessness as far as pedestrians are concerned. You can actually be arrested even on foot. People will ask you why were you arrested for recklessness.